FaZe has taken over being the support queen. Before her was Dekker, who was pretty much very much meta for a long time. In this deck today, we are taking a look at my attempt to try to make her even as viable or more so than FaZe. What cards are we using, and how and why do we pick Dekker in today's meta? So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a hero building guide. I am Sylphin. So today we're taking a look at my version 40.4 meta deck for Dekker the Angel. We have some optional starting cards here that you can choose from. Your Guardian's Ward is your dummy ward that you pick up and go out and place on the battlefield. Next, we have a Scout's Ward's Mender's file and Shepherd's file. If the enemy offlaner is not going to be dealing a lot of damage to you, or the Circlet of Health for good sustained presence there. In the early game, you get your Circlet of Health eventually, you get your Lord's Ward into your Circlet of Health, into your Quenching Scales, and then Honor the Pure. Mid-game, you simply just update with your Purity Sensor and Chronomancer Disc. Mind you, you aren't upgrading your Lord's Ward and Honor the Pure. You can start upgrading these in the mid-game if you just need that health in here. Really, that's just what you gotta do. In the end game, you finally finish it off with all of the upgrades on your Purity Sensor, Lord's Ward, Honor the Pure, etc. And then you finally get Tempered Plate there in the very, very end game. Some situational cards here. But you can either have the Purity Sensor or the Nature's Muse. They both equal 9 CP, so you can switch them out for whatever. If you don't need Purity Sensor, get this Nature's Muse. They have the Blink Charm in there, just as an option if you're getting really focused. 2 health tokens, a health potion, and a mana potion. Right off the bat, guys, you come over here and put down your dummy ward. I preferably put it right here so you can catch either the mid laner if they're coming through here, or especially the jungler as they try to come in here and gank you. Now, I always try to start off in an aggressive position like this against this Aurora. Now, the very first ability you get is your Q called Stasis Bomb. It's one of Dekker's primary, very important abilities. What happens, Dekker throws out a projectile that bounces along the ground, damaging any minions it passes through. The bomb will explode upon reaching maximum range or directly colliding with an object, terrain, or enemy hero. The explosion will deal ability damage and stun enemies. The ability damage is 75 to 210, and as you can see there, when timed appropriately, you can secure those kills. The mana cost, you don't have to really think about it, but the power scaling is 0.625, so it can actually deal some damage. The stun duration, though, is the most important part, 0.7 seconds to all the way up to 1.9. Upgrading it is very important, as that stun duration can only help your allies in securing early kills. Now, it is a lobbed ability, so you can do some funny things with it. Lob it over people, lob it over terrain, let it bounce along terrain. Make sure you don't hit it too directly, as sometimes it explodes, sometimes it doesn't. It's really not that consistent, to be honest with you. But if you can nail it, it works really quite well. It has a really long range, which is why Dekker's stun is powerful. That's the different kind of stun that Dekker has versus, say, a Narbash. The second ability that we get is called Slow Bubble. Dekker creates a bubble at a target location. Enemies within the bubble are slowed. After a time, the bubble will pop, dealing ability damage. Now, you can reactivate the bubble earlier to deal less damage. So that ability damage 25 to 81. It's really nothing with power scaling 0.5. Mana cost, not something you gotta think about, not really. Movement speed slow though, 125 all the way up to 305. Really helps slow down enemies to secure kills, or primarily slow down enemies to save your allies. Cooldown is 18 to 12 seconds. You just gotta use that really at appropriate times, secure kills, or just save your allies. Now, the last ability that you get, and I actually upgrade my Stasis Bomb twice here, just to really increase that stun from 0.7 seconds to 1.1 seconds. I think it is really, really powerful here. I'll just confirm that, 1.1 seconds. Yes, it is. So, I actually get this when I'm level 4, and that's the last of Dekker's abilities, called Rocket Boots. Dekker ignites her Rocket Boots, a launcher high into the air. Mana cost, you don't gotta worry about it, it's 50, with a cooldown of 16 to 10. So you can get over barriers like this Aurora might create. You can get up to gold buff, just like Aurora did there. Stuff like that. You can use it to traverse terrain, get out of sticky situations, dodge a skill shot, something like that. Very, very, very powerful. Use it at the right times, otherwise it's kind of underwhelming. Now, here in the early game, be aggressive, but only when there are a few minions in the area. Use your stun to secure kills, just like we do that, and be a pain to the enemy offlaner. Use that Scout's Ward in this scenario, I didn't really put it down here, to protect you and your carry. Because we're against an Aurora, I don't anticipate too much damage, so I can get away with those files and the Scout's Ward to give me good versatility in this scenario. Now, at this point, maybe we can talk about why you pick Dekker in today's meta. Well, one of the largest things, and I think this is what just Dekker's nature, is her ultimate, which we will talk about in a bit. It's called Containment Fence, and it can be used to set up wombo combos. I think that is, at this point in today's meta, the thing that defines Dekker the most. She is a wombo combo support. She can set plays up for a Sparrow, for a Howitzer, for a Gideon, for a Grux, for a Gadget, for any AoE, for a Wukong even, for all of those AoE type abilities and casters and stuff like that. She's the wombo combo setter-upper. The second reason you pick her is for her affinities. Well, actually, probably, no, that's a third reason. The second reason, probably for a consistent stun. Their Stasis Bomb is consistent. You'll see me use it here, especially against this Gideon, as I dodge this or this Aurora's ultimate, and then walk right into that. I do think I survive, but we didn't communicate here all too well, but you pick her for that stun. I was like, Gideon, perfect. I need a support with a stun, preferably, if I want to be really nitpicky. I'm going to go with Dekker for that consistent stun to knock out Gideon ultimates, Narbash ultimates. If you're really quick, Countess ultimates, Chimera ultimates, stuff like that. You can be really quick with it. Dekker is fantastic. The third reason, I already mentioned, is her affinities. Growth and order. She is the perfect support. She is the ultimate support that can have Purity Sensor, Honor the Pure, Quenching Scales, Nature's Muse. She can do anything. If you want the ultimate support, Dekker can be that. So here we are taking down this tower, and I try to do my thing against this Chimera. He leapt, and he hadn't used his ultimate yet at this point. I didn't notice he was low mana, so I used my Stasis Bomb, but I missed. That was probably going to be the time he would have used his ultimate, and I wanted to interrupt it. He didn't have mana for it, and I missed. You get the point. Also, for the Gideon, I need to probably save my Stasis Bomb more so for that Gideon than anything else. Also, my slow bubble, sorry, I should have kept it for immediately after or even during the Chimera leap, because that would give my Revenant more of an opportunity to get away. Now, another thing that you should really consider is at the even minute marks, at the 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, etc., especially in the first 10 minutes, consider rotating to the mid lane to help your jungler and your mid laner secure river buffs and ganks. Rotate over, try to do that shenanigans, because a lot of time you can actually be quite consistent. Now you can see we immediately after our files and Scouts Ward, we transition to the Lord's Ward for those Shadow Wards, which are very important, and the Circlet of Health gives tremendous sustain and helps the Odin lane a ton. You can see there I did a perfect stasis bomb, saved it for the Gideon ultimate after the Aurora ultimate, which we will counter with Purity Sensor later on. And just kind of tried to be as supportive as possible. A defensive containment fence, which is now her ultimate. What happens is a circular energy fence. That lasts for a couple of seconds is what her ultimate is. Blocks enemies' projectiles, but not friendly ones. Enemy heroes who touch the walls get knocked to the center of the area for a little bit of damage. No, there is no more damage anymore. Reactivating the ability will cancel defense early. Mana cost, you gotta think of it. You really do. And the duration of the fence increases when you upgrade it. 3 to 5 seconds with a cooldown to 170. It's a long time at level 1. But it goes down to 90 there at level 2, or at level 3. Very powerful ability, again, that defines Dekker's role in today's meta. The next card we get is Quenching Scales. It's simply really powerful, and you need that as soon as possible. You see here, again, Stasis Bomb for the Gideon works perfectly. I also used Quenching Scales there to heal up our Bellica that went pretty deep, and I just helped out my Revenant here. I try to use my Rocket Boots out of this Narbash's ultimate, but his ultimate's influence goes into the air, apparently, so that didn't quite work. As you can see, already starting to be a pretty good support here at this point. So here is a reason why Dekker can be fantastic. I unfortunately used a Stasis Bomb too early, and I let the Gideon get away with his ult. I used my Quenching Scales, just a little bit of sustain there for the rest of my team, but unfortunately the Bellica and the Grux go down. I use a defensive containment fence, but that showcases why you pick Dekker. With the Purity Sensor that I'm like, oh man, I need it so bad. That is why. Because phase is so prevalent and she can't get Purity Sensor, leaving fighters and other frontline utility heroes to pick it up. It simply doesn't happen. Aurora, she is very much possible in today's meta. Dekker, she can get Purity Sensor, so she is more viable than I think a lot of people think. We upgrade the Circlet of Health while we're not a phase and we can't double down on the usefulness of that. I do like it on a lot of supports just because you can upgrade it with mana, which you do need for your abilities in the early game, because casters suffer in the mana department. Plus, due to Quenching Scales, you can certainly use that mana. Now here you can see I've finally gone, I just need Purity Sensor, get rid of my Circlet of Health. It's a 24-minute mark. We can get away without it. Come in here a little bit late, use my Quenching Scales to heal this Bellica a bit, honor the Pure because she's just about to die. And I want to body block and get in the way of this Gideon's basic attacks, but I'm a little too late and tried then to do that, try to save her that way. Now we have Honor the Pure, it gives us shields for the rest of our team, absolutely monstrously powerful, and then Purity Sensor for that Aurora. If the enemy team had a phase, it would be even better to eliminate that blind. Now here's a great engagement that I just do good support things. Stasis Bomb on the Gideon ult. I used my Quenching Scales already because a lot of us were low. I used Honor the Pure there to help against that Gideon's Cosmic Rift that I saw incoming. And then at this point, we're just going to town. The Aurora wasn't here. Didn't need to worry about Purity Sensor. And kaboom. 2 cards that really, really help your team. Quenching Scales, the Honor the Pure. Use those at appropriate times. And that Stasis Bomb for key moments. You're solid. Your slow bubble in there, just slow the enemies, help your allies, kite them around or stick to them. Just solid. You can see we have the Chronomancer disc, absolutely so powerful on Dekker. Faster Stasis Bombs, faster Containment Fence especially. I used it there just to, I could sense that my team maybe had the upper hand, so I wanted to control the enemy and made sure that we secured the advantage there. So that could get that faster. Of course, our rocket boots and our slow bubble as well. Chronomancer disc on Dekker is, I think, one of the second most important support to have on it. The first being Muriel. Of course, Muriel's abilities, if you can use those a split second faster, oh, the potential's real. Now, another thing about Dekker is she is the team fight queen. You can see here, I unfortunately used my stasis bomb on the Narbash ultimate, forgetting all about the Gideon ultimate. The Aurora's ultimate does go off, but it was on my front line, who at this point I saw were tanky on a Greystone, and it didn't get applied to anybody else, so I didn't use it. Plus I wasn't close enough, etc., etc. You see a perfect stasis bomb right at the clutch moment when that Gideon was going 1-to-1 against my Revenant. Unfortunately, I don't know what I was doing there, and I had to go one-up. I chose to go one-on-one with the Revenant. I don't know. Silly me. Now, Dekker has all this fantastic potential, but you gotta utilize it. I don't use Parity Sensor for the Aurora ultimate. I don't save my Stasis Bomb for the Gideon ultimate. And this happens. Purity Sensor, I didn't use it, which would have done that. We wouldn't have got stunned, so I could have used my Quenching Scales. My Honor the Pure had just come off cooldown. Disastrous. And that is what happens. You got to use the potential of Dekker in order for that. The Gideon ultimate wouldn't have happened, which meant I could have gone into the Purity Sensor, or if I just used it, because the Aurora ultimate went off, I could have done that. Would have popped Quenching Scales. Honor the Pure would have gone off cooldown split second later. Could have used that. Would have been an entirely different team engagement, and that's what Dekker's all about. I think she is honestly the team fight 5v5 support queen. Now, unfortunately, the enemy, friendly Revenant and I, we get taken off because we were silly and overextended for pretty much no reason. That's it. We lose this game, but very great valiant effort from my teammates and from myself there. I think for most of the game. So there you guys go. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this deck. What do you guys think of Dekker in today's current meta? I think she is absolutely viable. If if the enemy team composition and your team composition warrant it. She's a wombo combo setter-upper. She has a fantastic stun to counter a lot of key enemy abilities, and her affinities present her with fantastic support cards that I think only Muriel can really rival. And, of course, Narbash, but, there's that. Please like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, guys, and, of course, subscribe. If you guys like this content, especially if you found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. Until next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.